Hello everyone, my name is Anitej Palur and today I will be talking about the white rose. Before I start off with this presentation, I would just like to let you know that these slides are available down in the description box below. All you have to do is click on the link and you'll be able to view these slides. I would also like to add that these pictures have links attached to them, which when clicked will redirect you to a website or a file for further reading. Some of my sources are also linked through these pictures. Let us now start off with this presentation. In the top left-hand corner, we have a photograph of Hans Scholl, a founding member of the White Rose. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have a photograph of Sophie Scholl, sister of Hans Scholl, and another founding member of the White Rose. In the center on the top of the slide, we have a photograph of a meeting held by the members of the White Rose. Again, on the top of the slide, we have a photograph of Roland Freisler, who ordered the execution of the Scholls. In the top right-hand corner, we have a photograph of the leaflets published by the White Rose. In the bottom right-hand corner, we have a slogan sprayed onto a wall during the anti-Nazi graffiti program. And finally, in the center on the bottom of the slide, we have a photograph showing leaflets thrown off a balcony in the University of Munich, which ultimately led to the execution of the Scholls. We will be covering the various aspects of the White Rose. We'll be studying who exactly the White Rose were, their actions, the execution of the Scholls, which is an extremely important event, and their legacy. Let us now look at a short quote by Sophie Scholl. It is as follows: "Stand up for what you believe in, even if you are standing alone." The White Rose expressed their beliefs in writing. Many members of the White Rose were students of literature. This particularly highlights the methods used by the White Rose. Let us now look at who exactly the White Rose were. The White Rose was an anti-Nazi group formed in Munich in the year 1942. The group used non-violent methods to oppose the Nazis at the time. The White Rose was founded by Hans Scholl, Willy Graf, Alexander Schrommel, and later joined by Hans' sister, Sophie Scholl. They are pictured here. Hans Scholl, Willy Graf, and Alexander Schrommel were students at the University of Munich. Many members of the White Rose were previously members of the Hitler Youth and the Union of German Girls, or the League of German Maidens, which were youth organizations designed to spread Nazi ideals in children through ideological training. At first, they willingly accepted Nazi ideals. However, as they started reading anti-Nazi messages and attending classes by Kurt Huber, a philosophy professor, they began to resist the Nazis. Hans Scholl was a soldier on the Eastern Front and had witnessed the murder of Polish Jews and the deportation of millions of Jews to concentration camps. The Scholls particularly hated the military-like discipline and repetitive routines when they entered service. After witnessing the murder of Jews by SS troops, the group decided to oppose the Nazis. The group made use of their youthful idealism, their knowledge of German literature, and Christian teachings to spread their message of opposing the Nazis. Let us now look at their actions. The students managed to obtain a printing press and began to draft out leaflets. The group published their beliefs in leaflets signed under the alias White Rose. Their leaflets were mainly written by Hans Scholl, Alexander Schmorell, and Christoph Probst, another member of the White Rose. Their first leaflet was published in June of 1942 and advocated the need to passively oppose the Nazis, particularly highlighting the German involvement in the Second World War. Their first leaflet is pictured here. The group used addresses obtained from a telephone directory to mail their leaflets to people across Munich. The group also carried suitcases of their leaflets and left them in phone booths for distribution. The group then quickly expanded to include students from Hamburg, Freiburg, Berlin, and Vienna. The group had an extensive communication network, which allowed it to hide from the Gestapo, the German state secret service. The White Rose also attempted to sabotage the armaments industry of Germany. 5 more leaflets were published across the next 8 months. Then the Gestapo became increasingly suspicious of the group's activities. By 1943, the group's members began distributing their leaflets by hand and began an anti-Nazi graffiti program. A total of 15,000 leaflets were produced by the White Rose. Millions were to follow in the years to come. Let us now look at the execution of the Scholls. On February the 18th, the Scholls decided to distribute their 6th set of leaflets. They had traveled to the University of Munich, where they planned for students to find them as they finished their lectures. However, Sophie Scholl was unable to distribute all the leaflets and so threw them over the balcony. A caretaker witnessed this and called the Gestapo. The Gestapo swiftly arrested the Scholls. They were interrogated thoroughly but failed to disclose any information about their fellow conspirators. They were then tried for treason and executed on February the 22nd, 1943. Following their execution, countless people were arrested for their connection to the White Rose, though many a time they had no such connection, and were executed in a similar fashion. The White Rose gradually descended into chaos. Alexander Schmorell was arrested and executed shortly after. Though their execution was barely mentioned in German newspapers, their message had spread as far as the United States of America, with news of student opposition mentioned in the New York Times. A BBC broadcast was also sent regarding their execution. Their final leaflet was smuggled out of Germany and sent to the Allies. The Allies responded by dropping millions of their leaflets over Germany. Their graves are pictured here. Let us now look at their legacy. Their legacy still stands today. Countless schools, streets, and awards are now named after the Scholls. The Scholls represent the importance of standing by one's beliefs and following your conscience, even if it involves sacrifice. Their story reminds us not to remain silent and to fight for freedom. Here are some busts showing the members of the White Rose. Here is a video which I highly suggest you take a look at. This video covers the White Rose in detail and covers many of the events which I've mentioned before. I've linked this video down in the description box below for you to look at. Here are some of my sources. I highly suggest you to take a look at my sources. They are extremely informative and useful and cover the White Rose in detail. And that brings us to the end of this presentation. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed this presentation. Once again, my name is Anitej Palur, signing off.